The sky was a canvas of fading colors as Jack Donovan sat on the rickety porch of his small cottage. The winds of early autumn tugged at the trees, their branches swaying lazily in the fading light. The town of Riverwood was quiet, as it always was in the late hours of the evening. But for Jack, the silence was his constant companion, and the creaking of his porch swing was the only sound that dared to break it. Retirement had given Jack the peace he thought he wanted. At 65, the weight of his past as a firefighter had become too much to bear. The countless rescues, the lives he couldn't save, the friends he had lost, they haunted him with every passing day. But the years of firefighting, the years spent in danger, also left him with a deeper sense of guilt. He had saved so many, yet he could never save them all. His solitary life was his retreat from the noise, a place where no one expected anything from him. He tried to bury his memories beneath the calm of his rural home. But that evening, everything changed. A low whine interrupted his thoughts. Jack's eyes flicked to the side, narrowing as he saw a small, mangy dog limping toward his porch. It was skinny, with patches of fur missing and its right leg dragging limply behind it. The dog's deep brown eyes met Jack's gaze, filled with an almost human understanding. Jack's heart, long hardened by the passing years, softened just a little. Despite the emotional scars, he couldn't ignore the animal's silent plea for help. "Come on, boy," Jack muttered, not quite realizing the shift within himself. He knelt down, wincing as his old knees creaked, and gently coaxed the dog onto the porch. The dog collapsed at his feet, its head resting on Jack's boots. A deep sigh escaped Jack's lips, a momentary relief, as if the dog's pain resonated with his own. He didn't know why, but he felt an undeniable pull toward the animal. Jack's days had always been routine, quiet, simple, but lonesome. Caring for Buddy, as he named the dog, changed that. Over the next few weeks, Jack took care of Buddy's injured leg, treating it with homemade remedies, and feeding him leftovers from his meals. The dog's presence was unassuming but comforting. Jack wasn't used to this kind of companionship, one that didn't require words. In the quiet of his evenings, Jack would sit on his porch, Buddy by his side, the two of them staring at the stars, sharing a peaceful solitude. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable, it was a shared understanding. For Jack, Buddy was a reminder that even in the aftermath of trauma, there could be healing. Buddy's leg healed faster than Jack expected. The dog grew stronger and more energetic with each passing day, always staying close to Jack's side. In return, Jack found solace in Buddy's unwavering loyalty, a loyalty that didn't ask for anything but trust. For the first time in years, Jack allowed himself to feel something other than the heavy burden of guilt. The day the fire broke out, the sky was clouded with the threat of a storm. Jack had just finished his morning coffee when his phone rang. "Jack, there's been a fire at the orphanage," Chief Barnes's voice crackled through the receiver. "We need you. It's bad. Real bad. You can't just sit this one out." The call stirred something deep inside Jack, something that hadn't been active for years. The instinct to help, to save, surged through him, despite the years of numbness that followed his retirement. For a moment, he hesitated. The weight of his age and his old injuries made him question his decision, but the truth was that Jack Donovan had never been one to sit idly by in the face of danger. He grabbed his jacket, a worn firefighter's uniform he hadn't worn in years, and rushed out the door, Buddy following closely behind. The sound of the town's sirens grew louder as Jack made his way toward the orphanage. By the time Jack arrived, the orphanage was engulfed in flames. Thick black smoke billowed from the windows, and the air was thick with heat and acrid fumes. Firefighters were already at work, but the fire was spreading too quickly. "Jack, you can't," Chief Barnes started, but Jack didn't stop. He pushed past the chief, ignoring the protest. The smoke stung his eyes, and the heat threatened to burn his skin, but Jack's determination was ironclad. "Stay back. I'll find them," Jack yelled, his voice hoarse, pushing through the burning doorway. Inside, the heat was unbearable. The walls groaned under the pressure of the flames, and the air was thick with suffocating smoke. Jack stumbled through the halls, heart pounding, his mind focused only on finding the children. He couldn't fail again. He found them in a corner, two girls huddled together, crying. The sight of their terrified faces hit Jack like a punch to the gut. He grabbed them both, one under each arm, and started toward the exit. But the building was collapsing around him. Jack's legs felt like lead, his breath ragged as the smoke burned his lungs. Just as he reached the door, his body failed him. He stumbled and collapsed to the ground, the weight of the girls too much for him to bear. Through the haze of smoke, Jack felt a tug on his jacket. It was Buddy, standing in the doorway, barking frantically. The dog's eyes were wide with concern, his body trembling as if he knew Jack's peril. Jack barely had the strength to lift his head. "Buddy, what are you doing here?" he whispered, but the dog didn't wait for an answer. He grabbed the sleeve of Jack's jacket with his teeth and tugged, pulling Jack's limp body forward. Buddy's determination was a lifeline. With every pull, the dog dragged Jack out of the smoke and toward the door. The fire roared behind them, but Buddy kept going, guiding Jack through the flames, despite the danger. The heat was unbearable, but Buddy didn't stop. He pulled Jack across the threshold just as the ceiling collapsed behind them. Once outside, Jack collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. Buddy stood over him, his body heaving with exhaustion but his tail still wagging, as if proud of his success. The firefighters rushed to the scene, but Jack was no longer the hero. Buddy was. As Jack lay there, recovering, he noticed something: Buddy's collar. It had a worn, weathered tag that read Carter. The realization hit Jack like a freight train. The dog wasn't just a stray. Buddy had once belonged to Carter Reynolds, his old firefighting partner. Carter had died years ago, saving a family from a burning house. Jack had been the one to pull him out of the flames, but despite their best efforts, Carter hadn't made it. Jack had never forgiven himself. He had always wondered if there was something more he could have done, something to save Carter. Now, Buddy, the dog that had saved him, was a living reminder of the bond they had shared. Buddy wasn't just a dog. He was a legacy. He had come back to remind Jack of the family he had once been a part of, the family of firefighters who had saved each other's lives, and even in death, still looked after one another. As the dust settled and the town began to recover from the fire, Jack stood by Buddy, watching the firefighters work. He could see the familiar faces of those who had worked alongside him in his prime. But there was something different now. Jack no longer felt like an outsider. Buddy stood by his side, unwavering, just like the partner Jack had once been to Carter. Jack reached down, his hand trembling slightly as he scratched behind Buddy's ears. "You're a good dog," Jack murmured. "You saved me, just like Carter would have." The wind shifted, carrying the faint scent of the burnt building, but for the first time in years, Jack didn't feel the weight of his past crushing him. He had found redemption, not through grand acts of heroism, but through the quiet loyalty of a dog. And in that moment, Jack realized that sometimes, the real heroes didn't wear uniforms, they had 4 paws and a heart full of courage. This story touches on themes of redemption, loss, and the healing power of companionship. With Buddy's role evolving into more than just a pet, he becomes Jack's final chance to heal from his past. The twist reveals the deep connection between Jack and Buddy, showcasing how the bond between humans and animals transcends time and trauma. Jack Donovan's journey reminds us all that redemption and healing can come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes, the true heroes in our lives are not those who wear uniforms, but the ones who stand by our side when we need them most. Buddy, the loyal dog, proved that sometimes a simple act of kindness can change everything. If you were moved by Jack and Buddy's story, remember that there are always opportunities around us to be that hero, whether it's lending a helping hand, offering compassion, or simply listening to someone in need. Like Jack, we all have the power to heal and inspire. Take a moment to connect with someone who might need your support today. Maybe it's a neighbor, a friend, or even an animal in need of care. The smallest actions can lead to the most extraordinary changes. If you believe in the power of second chances, kindness, and unspoken bonds, share this story with someone who might need a reminder that heroes come in all shapes and sizes. Let's create a world where we lift each other up, just like Buddy lifted Jack when he needed it most. Join our community, like, share, and comment below with how you've experienced unexpected heroes in your life. Let's inspire others to discover their own moments of redemption.